So we'll be starting now with macro debugging options. We'll go for macro, how to go for storing macro procedures. What is the use of percentage include, percentage if, percentage then? What are the different macro functions? How to schedule a macro programming? These are the topic we are going to cover up today, and hence we'll be completing the entire SAS macro class. So last class we talked about how to go for defining SAS macro variables. The 8 ways of defining macro variables has been completed. Now let's understand how to go for debugging a SAS macro options, or what are the SAS macro debugging options. So let me go ahead and run this program here. We call this as macro debugging options. Right? So there are 3 ways we can go for debug the macro. There are 4 ways. There are 4 ways we can debug SAS macro programming. Number 1, using options mprint. Number 2, using options mlogic. Number 3, using options symbol gen. Then the 4th one, using options percentage prut. These are the 4 ways we can go for macro debugging options. Now let me show you this example one after another. So how do you go for doing this? For example, right, I copy this code here where I say options mprint, then I write the macro below here. Okay. What I'm doing here, I write this macro which has been called in the program just to give you what happens when you go for calling these macro variables. Now here is some example. Now I created this macro using options mprint. The moment I run this program, what is happening here? It says that options mprint, you call the macro, and there is no error message is coming where you can see my program has some error. If there is no error message, it is perfect to run now. But when you go for running this macro, which is called mac5, with putting these parameter values, what is happening in the log window, since you have used options mprint, it is showing in the program as per the mprint option for mac5, where comp has resolved the value for Apollo here, Jane has resolved the value for female here, age has resolved the value for 50 over here in the program, NSW has changed the value to NSW over here. This is how it shows how the macro variable values have been resolved in the program. This is what your options mprint is going to do. When you run this program and call the macro, ultimately options mprint is going to say that how these macro variable values are getting resolved in the program. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, you know what, guys? I'll be copying this code here. This time, I will use options mlogic. What happens when you go for options mlogic and you run the program, you do not see any error in the log window. That means my program is correct. Then when I call the macro by macro name and calling these macro variables, passing the parameter values, if I run the program, what is happening out here in the log window? It is going to give you the details like mlogic is the macro options on the macro name called mac5. Beginning the execution, comp has a value called Apollo, Jane has a value called female, AG has a value called 50, STCD has a value called NSW, and this is how it has been resolved in the program out here. This is just an example of how to go for using options mlogic. If I ask you guys options mlogic and options mprint, which is more convenient to read and understand? Mprint is good or mlogic is good, guys, for you?
Mprint.
Mprint is straight it is giving in the code, but mlogic is explaining all the parameters and the values, then how this parameter has been called in the program. You can see this here. Yes or no, guys? So I must say mlogic is better than mprint, and mlogic takes the first sharing these details of the parameter values, then mprint comes, and mlogic mprint both comes together using the options called mlogic. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now the next one I will be talking to you about options symbol gen. What do you call these guys here? Options symbol gen. Right. When you run this program, You don't see any error out here. But when you run this program here, you can see the output which is coming. Right? Now, what you see here? Symbol gen says that first symbol gen, then mlogic, then mprint, then again symbol gen will come. How it is working? First, it's saying that symbol gen, the macro variables, which is resolves within this program, which is the link for my library. Then it's showing that as per the symbol gen, first mlogic applied to execute the macro variable values and the parameters. Then is going for symbol gen. Macro variable comp has been resolved with the value called Apollo. In the mprint, you can see it is Apollo coming. Then it's saying symbol gen macro variable called comp as Apollo, which has been resolved in the program called Apollo. Jane has female, which is resolved here. AG has 50, which is resolved here. STCD is called New South Wales, which is resolved here. So I will say symbol gen is more granular as compared to options mprint, mlogic. Symbol gen is the best option than anyone else. Will you agree with me, guys? Everyone? Will you
Yes,
agree
sir.
with me? Guys, which one is
Yes,
more
sir.
granular? Out of mprint, mlogic, symbol gen, which one is more granular? It is symbol gen, which brings mlogic, mprint, as well as symbol gen with the macro variable values resolved with the value, and where this value has been called in the program, it is just going to show before that. Is this clear to all? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, we'll talk about how to go for defining a macro value using percentage put. For example, percentage let city is equal to Bangalore. When I write percentage let city is equal to Bangalore, my macro variable name is city. How to check these values? I write percentage put ampersand city dot. If you run this program, what is happening here, guys? It is going to get you the output as city. The value is getting resolved by Bangalore. Can you see? Macro value city resolves with the value called Bangalore. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this, guys, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now we are confirmed. We can debug macro variable or macro program using options, mprint, options, mlogic, options, symbol gen. Yes or no, guys? And
Yes,
percentage
sir.
put. This is an interview question. You should be able to answer this now, everyone. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, guys, 1 minute. I hope you guys understand about how to go for debugging the macro program using mprint, mlogic, and the symbol gen. Is this clear? Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll talk about how to go for storing your macro. So we'll talk about how to store a macro program into a permanent library. Okay. So here is an example. We created this macro. Let's say we created this macro. By default, this macro goes to the work library. But if you want to store this macro, what do you write here? You will write options mstore. That means macro store SAS mstore is equal to day5, which is your library name. And while you are writing this program here, after this percentage mstore, you just have to write here store is an option. Now, if you run this program, this macro will store into a day5 library. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Right? So now, how do you call this macro? Let's say I want to call this macro this way. Doesn't matter. This macro, if you call, you see the output is coming. Now, how to see this macro, where it is being stored? You can go to the libraries. You can go to the libraries here, looking at this day5. You can click on the day5. You don't see the macro here. Why it is not coming here? And where you can see this? Now, let's go back to my folder, which is as crash course. I'll go to my data sets. I look for my macro. Is it stored? It is stored. Can you see this? Can you see this, guys, everyone? It stores with .sas7 bcat. This is called catalog file. So we can see in our library, the SAS macro has been stored with an extension of .sas 7 BCAT, right? So it is called a catalog file. Does it make sense to all, everyone?
Yes.
Right. So it will be stored as SAS macr dot SAS 7 BCAT, which is called SAS catalog file. Okay. Now, next is use of percentage include. So what happens, guys, how we use percentage include and where it is going to be called, I'll show this example here. Percentage include means, let's say I store this macro into a new program. I'll go here, right click, create a new program, and I store this program control S into my tab 5. Going here, I call this haha haha haha. So now I saved this code with a new code file name called haha haha haha. Percentage include what I'll write here, percentage include. Then in this code, I can call this macro program. Going to the properties, copy this here, then I can say run. The moment I run this program, what is happening? It is running the macro program, which is stored in this folder using percentage include. You don't have to do anything. Ultimately, the end result will come directly here. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Imagine I go back to this code where I change it to Cipla, change it to mail. I put it here 60. I call this here QLD. I change my program, save this program and close it. Now, if you run this program, what will happen? It gives you the output for Cipla, mail and QLD. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
We use percentage include statement to call the macro program by given the code path. It's not about macro program. Call the SAS program by given the code path. Is this clear to all of you? Everyone, is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Others, are you able to understand what I say here? Tell me yes or no, guys, those who are online.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next is how to schedule a macro. So what is the meaning of SAS macro program scheduling? Let's say my business wants a SAS a report to run the code and present to the management every Monday at 9 a.m. That means even if you are there, you are not there in the office, the backend program will schedule by the time. It will automatically run based on the data availability. It will create the report and it will send it to your email IDs. I'll give some example here. I write proc print data is equal to SAS help dot class. If you run this program, you see the output is coming like this. Next, I write the program here, SAS help dot cars. What is happening here? Now, if I run this program, what is happening? It is giving the report about the car supplies. Now, one is class output. One is the cars selling output. Two reports are coming like this. Let's say these are the two reports. What I will do now, right? I'll first create this as a report name. For example, I call percentage macro report 1 percentage MEND means the macro end and I take the program here. Okay. Now I run percentage macro, report to, and I run this code here. So what happens, guys? I run these two program. I created my macro. If I say percentage report 1, I get the output like this. If I say percentage report 2, I get the output like this. Can you see this? Hey guys,
Yes, sir.
did you understand what I created now? Did you understand what I created here, everyone?
Yeah.
Right. Now what I'll do here, I want to see the system date and time. What I'll do here, I will write there is a system defined macro variable percentage put ampersand sys day dot. If I run this query, what is the output is coming? It's saying Wednesday. Today is what? Wednesday? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now I will run a program here saying that percentage macro call report. I want to create this macro name percentage MEND. What I want to give it here, percentage if, right? Ampersand sys day is equal to Wednesday. It is case sensitive. It is given as Wednesday. If it is, I copy this here. It is case sensitive. If it is Wednesday, then percentage, then I'll go for printing percentage report 1. Percentage else, I will print percentage report 2. Is this clear? Now, if I call the macro, call report, which report will come now? Can anyone tell me, guys? If I run this
Report 2.
program, which report will come?
Report 2.
It'll come with this report 1. Today is Wednesday. Yes or no? Had it been happen, it is given as Monday. Which report will come? Which
2.
report will come?
Report 2.
Report 2 is coming. Are you getting this? Guys, are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's see the real macro scheduling program. 1 minute, guys. Vidata, congratulations. You got selected.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And one more thing, Vidata, you are missing class, which is not right. Let's see the real macro scheduling program. Okay. So how to go for schedule the macro program? We'll do it. So this is how I'll show here. Create a SAS macro which can run every Monday morning at 9 a.m. to create report 1, and if it's not Monday, it will create report 2. Can you see this data? Percentage macro, weekly report, data underscore null, calls input defining a macro value called day and time. If it is weekday, taking the weekday value from this date value, time from the time value, percentage put today number, today day and number as ampersand day. Percentage put current time as ampersand time as a macro variable. Percentage if ampersand day is 2, ampersand time is 9, and ampersand time is 901, percentage do, percentage put running report 1. Print the report 1 which has to go there. Else, if it is else running report 2, then print report 2 and close the market, close the program. This is what the scheduling happens in real time when you join any company. Will you be able to read this program now? Everyone, will you be able to read this program and understand? Guys,
Yes, sir.
right. Okay. Now I'll talk about SAS macro functions. SAS macro functions are going to be like this. Let's say percentage let A is equal to 100. Percentage let B is equal to 200. If I say percentage let C is equal to ampersand A dot plus ampersand B dot. If you write here percentage put ampersand C dot, what does it mean? You have a macro variable called A which is having 100. You have a macro variable called B which is having 200 value. You have a macro variable C which is going to ampersand A ampersand B which is A plus B. When you run this program with percentage put C ampersand C value in the log window, it shows the value as 100 plus 200. Now, what does it mean? How to get this value for this expression? To get this expression value, remember, when you have a mathematical expression for the integer value, then to get this expression value, you should not be writing this way. Rather, you should be writing here percentage eval function, expression value. And if you close this, now if you run the program, you see the output which is coming to 300. Can you see this, guys, everyone?
Yes.
So what we can say, percentage eval function we use to create mathematical expression to be resolved. Percentage eval function we use to create mathematical expression to be resolved where values are in integer. This is something that we have to remember where to go for using percentage eval. What if your values are given 100.50 and 200.20? In such case, if it is floating, if you run this program, you don't see the output is coming here. You don't see the output will come. When the values are in floating, you got to use this eval if. Now, if you run the program, you get the output which is coming here to 300.7. Does it make sense to all of you guys, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So this is how we go for using percentage sys eval if, percentage sys eval if function we use to create mathematical expression to be resolved where the values are in floating. Clear now, everyone? Right? So now I'll show you guys use of simget function in SAS macro for calling the macro variable. What does it mean? I write here percentage let city is equal to Bangalore. I like data city underscore all. Then write here city underscore name is equal to, I call ampersand city dot. If I run this and also I use population is equal to, let's say 1.2 crore, and I say run, and I call this proc print and say run. When I run this program, it is resolving the value for city name as Bangalore as a macro variable, and it is 1.2 crore. This is how we call the macro variable using ampersand. So we use generally ampersand symbol to call the macro variable in the program. Now, if you do not want to use ampersand, how would you call this program to? So in this case, I will not use ampersand, but I can call this using simget as a function to call here. Right? I call this simget with city. It is also working here. It is also working. Everyone, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what we're saying here, we use simget to call the macro variable without using ampersand symbol. Now the question is coming, why we use simget function? I'll give an example to you. Simget and simget in are the macro variable calling function, right? Simget call macro variable values as character always, right? But simget in call macro variable values as numeric always. What does it mean? I'll give an example to you here. Now let me call this program and I'll show you what is happening. I create percentage let hard is 650, percentage let moderate is 375, percentage let easy is 240. When I run this program, I created three macro variable, hard, moderate, and easy, which is getting the value as this. Are you getting this, guys? Everyone? Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Now, what I'm doing here, I create a data set called exercise, sports, golf is easy. I want easy should be replaced by 240. Dance as moderate. Moderate should be replaced by the value of 375. Hard should be replaced with the value of 650. So when I run this program, I see the sports and the intensity of the sports. Golf is easy game, dance is moderate, bike riding is hard, jogging is hard, swimming is hard, walking is moderate, and stretch, which is easy. Now, what is happening out here when you run this program? If I'm using new data set called calories, I'll show you here, which is taking the values from exercise. I'm creating a new variable called intensity calories in character, intensity calories in numeric. I'm calling this intensity values, which is easy, moderate, harder, which has been defined at the top, 650, 375, and 40. When I say simget, it's going to read this as a character. When I say simget n, it's going to read this as a numeric. Now you can see the end result is going to come like this. When you read this program with simget, you can see the result is coming as character. EG has been replaced by 240, moderate has been replaced by 375, hard has been replaced by 650. But when you say intensity calories by number, simget n is reading this value as number here. Can you see this? It is right aligned as a number. Everyone getting this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
Right. Now, guys, what I'll do here, I will be showing you some of the questions. This is where we have finished the SAS macro programming. We will get into the project. Before that, how does a SAS macro start? It is starting with percentage macro and ending with percentage MEND. Can we create a macro using percentage let? Create a macro using percentage let? If yes, can you also assign local or global macro variables? It is not macro, it's macro variable. Can we create a macro value using percentage let? Answer is we can create percentage let macro variable inside or outside the macros. Right? The scope of fetching the values from one macro to another will depend on whether it has been declared as a global or local. That is how you can say percentage let macro value default is global, but if it is defined inside the macro at percentage global or local, that defines whether it is going local macro or it's a global macro. Our macro names are case sensitive? Answer is no. Macro variable values are case sensitive, not macros. Macro name or statements are case sensitive. What does triple ampersand mean? It means you are calling two macro variables together. If you look at the program which we run in the last class, where I was using the macros, you can see here. Can you see I was using double ampersand? Yes or no, guys? Which means I was calling two macro values together. Correct? Same way, this is the question maybe asked in the interview. What does this represent when you say three macro? That means you're calling two macro variables together. Give an example of a macro scheduling. Already I told you sysday, systime. These are the macro. This is the system defined macro variables which we normally use to call in the program by based on scheduling. How many ways you can define the macro variables or declare macro variables? 8 ways. These 8 ways: percentage late, parameters, positional, parameters, keyword, global, local, percentage do, prox, equivalent to calls input has been completed. Difference between eval and sysvalf we have completed. Simget n we have also completed. Do you know how to automate the macro programs? Right? What is the use? If they are going to ask you, you should be able to answer this question. Give a scenario where we can automate the entire task. Which version of SAS you are currently using? If you're using proc, set init, run the program, it will show you in your log window which version of SAS you are using. It's saying that you are currently using 9.0.4 01M8P0 4 times 2 and 3. This is called the current version of SAS we're using. We can normally say we're using 9.04 version. That is how you can answer in the interview if it is related to SAS macro. By saying that, we have finished this. The project class, I'll give you a video. Already we have done in the class. But if you still I will give you some videos on the project automation class. So we have finished now the SAS macro session here.